Hello friends, in this lecture I will be discussing about pointers. So basically when we look see programming, so when we declare variables, so far what you have seen is those variables which are able to hold data. So they can be thought of as data variables. That means the variables which are capable of holding some data. Whether it is float, whether it is character, whether it is integer, doesn't matter, but they are holding some data, 5, a, let's say 2.9 and so on. Another type of variables are those which are capable of holding the address of variables. This may sound little bit tricky or difficult at the beginning, but you mark my words that the pointers are the beautiful entities when it comes to C programming. So, two types of data, variables. Variables holding data, variable holding the address. Address of what? So, there must be something for which I have to store the address of. So, let us take one example. This is one house. Okay. And you are staying in the house. So, this house is, let's say, at street ABC and lane number 12. So uh, at the street ABC lane number 12, you are having a house with number AF, let's say. So this is street, this is lane, this is your house number. What is this? This is basically the address of your house. Who are you? The one who is staying inside the house. What is that? That is data. So this is the location where data is getting stored. What we say? We call this house as, let's say, Raman house. What is this? This is the name of the variable, name given to the house. So at street, at lane, this is your house number and this is your house name. So this is basically the address of your house. Okay. So these three things should be clear to you. So now this is a variable name which is holding this data, that is you. Whereas this particular thing is telling you about the memory location or the address where that Raman house is or where that data is. So let me explain this thing with the help of example. Let's say I am declaring a variable a and initializing it with 5. So the moment I say int a, what will happen? A space will be allocated to an integer and that space I am started calling as a. So memory will be reserved for an integer, 4 bytes. Where is this variable pointing? So I can simply say printf and then percentage u for unsigned integers and address of a. So what it will give me? It will give me that memory location where the a is currently staying in the memory. So if I run it, so it will give me something like this 6422092. So this is the address of this variable a inside the memory. And what is basically, so let me write this as address of a is this, and at the same time let us print the value at a. So the value at a is nothing but that is A. That's it. So if you run it, so what it is happening? Okay, let us give one more space so that it becomes more readable. So the address is 64229092 of A, where this data is getting stored. So how can I read it? Once more I am telling you, the address where this variable A is 64229092, and the data which is stored at that address is 5. So there is one more facility given in C, and that is a special type of variable which is able or capable of holding the address of a variable. So let us initialize that. How to initialize that? That is called as a pointer, and it is initialized by star p. This star p is telling us that this is going to be a pointer of data type int. Okay, this means this is going to be a pointer which is pointing to a location which is basically designated for a variable which is of data type integer. So this will basically point to an integer variable. Now, right now, this p doesn't have anything. So we are not saying that p point here. No, p is not pointing anywhere right now. So you can think it like this, that I'm having a memory location where this data is stored, and we are calling that memory location as A for our convenience. Now I have declared one variable p which is basically a pointer. Okay, so where is this pointer? This is also in memory, so this must also be having some address. So if so let's say its address is 23125, let's say, then this must be having some 24729, let's say. So if I print the address of, let's say, p, so I am interested in printing the address of p. So the address of p pointer, look here. So the address of A is 64, this one, and the address of p is 64222080, different address. So we have created two variables. One is a data variable, one is a pointer variable. Now what we'll do is we'll ask the pointer to point in an address where A is. So I'll say simply address A. So now I will be assigning the address of A to P. So what will happen? This P will now be pointing to this address. What do I mean by pointing to this address? Means now this value will be inside 23125. Now this pointer will be holding the address of that variable where the pointer is pointing. Okay, so now if I try to print out that what this P is holding now, so basically U doesn't matter. So now you can see that, okay, address, no, value, value of P, let's say. So now what you can see that the address of A is 6422092, and the value which this P is storing right now is the same, that is 6422092. So what is a pointer? Pointer is that special type of variable which is capable of holding the address of another variable. But the important thing here is, if the location where that pointer is pointing is of integer type, then we have to declare the pointer as integer. If it is of float type, let's say this is float, then this has to be of float type. This you should remember. So that's it. Okay, now I have shown you that how to fetch the address of a data variable. I have also shown you that how to see that value where where the name of that particular location is a. Now I have shown you that how to see the address of a pointer. I have shown you that how to see the value stored inside the pointer. I have explained you that how to declare a pointer, and at the same time how that pointer can point to a address of a particular variable. So what pointer holds? Address of a particular variable. You should always remember this. Now, as this is my pointer, so this is having, this is a variable in fact, so this is having some address. Okay. Now, before I can explain this, let me show you something. Okay. How to know the value of that value at that address where this pointer is pointing? Right now, this pointer is pointing to the variable A. Right now, the pointer P is pointing to this address, and I want to know that what is the data stored at this address, then I have to derefer it. So, the same thing I can also value, I can write here value of A via pointer. So what I have to do, I have to derefer it, that is I have to write star P. Now this will do what? This will give the value of that memory location where this pointer is pointing. So if I run it, so look here. So I have set float A assigned. Okay, so I have to change this. I have to change this to integer only, so that I needn't have to write everywhere percentage %f. Okay, so now if I run it, now you can see that A is having this address, A is storing this value, P is having this address, and P is storing the value that is the address of this variable A. Now, if I want to know the value stored at this address, then I have to derefer it, that is write star P. And then if I do it, I will be getting the value which is stored at that memory location where this pointer P is pointing. Now, what else? Now, let's say I am interested in storing the address of this pointer. So, who is capable of storing the address? A pointer is capable of holding the address. But whose address now I want to store? The pointer itself. So, I have to create a pointer, another pointer, let's say D. And this time, this pointer will be double star. That is how we have to declare it. Why? Because this is a pointer which is pointing to the address of another pointer. Okay. So, let us come to the editor. Let us declare another pointer, let's say D, and this is pointing to the address of, what I am saying, that D is pointing to the address of P. And if I, let's say, I want to know what is this D holding, so I simply have to say this, that the value of D is basically, let's say, D. So if I run it, then see, what is this D doing? D is pointing to the address of the pointer. So what is the address of the pointer? It is 6422.072, and what D is holding? 6422.072. So I want to store the address of the pointer, then I have to use a pointer only, because pointers can hold the address, and this time it is basically double precision. You can think in this way, that pointer to pointer, so double star. And if I want to hold, now this D is inside, so this is D basically. This is holding what? This address, let's say 24729. This is referring to it. And if I want to make another pointer, let's say R, which is pointing to the address of this pointer, which is pointing to the address of P, then I can also do it. I can declare it with 3 stars. And in this way, this series goes on. So friends, once again, what is a pointer? A pointer is that variable which is capable of holding the address of another variable, that is data variable. Okay, and with this particular thing, we can do many tasks. Once more, a pointer is pointing to the address of a variable, data variable, that is how we can write it. So if we want to know what is the address of this variable A, then I have to print P, simply where it is, this. Okay, if I want to know the value or the data stored at the address where the pointer is pointing, then I have to derefer it. So in this way, we can point to an address, we can store the address. And with this, we can do many things. One such example is we can create functions which are capable of returning more than one results. So that's all for this lecture. We'll be learning more about pointers in the next lecture. Thank you very much for watching it.